What's up guys, Quadrant here, going to be bringing you an in-depth analysis on Admiral Bulldog's Offlane Nature's Prophet. Again, the point of this series is to look at the best players playing some of their best heroes to see how we can get better at the game. Let's go ahead and hop into the analysis right now. Alright, so here we are at the start of the game. First thing you'll notice that he does is he spawns 2 treants. These are to scout out, and notice that he does like this immediately when he spawns. A lot of Nature's Prophets will wait and spawn these later or at the 1 minute mark to try to check runes. Admiral Bulldog does not do that. He does this at the 1 minute 30 second mark, which is early enough that he can get a second pair of treants in time to disrupt the creep wave timings on the off lane. So you'll notice where he's sending these. Let me just go back out of perspective here so you can see where he's actually going. But this little treant right here is running over to the Roshan pit just to see if they're doing Rosh. It's pretty unlikely with this lineup, but they could be doing it. So just seeing if they're doing Rosh. They're not doing it, so then he's going to go up in here. And this is just good, really good fundamentals. Second treant is going into the enemy jungle. This will allow them to potentially pick a fight. If, for example, they run in here and they see 2 or 3 people up here, and then they run into someone down here, they'll know that they could be aggressive on this person. So just like scouting out enemy location, trying to figure out where the enemy team is at, and just really smart play overall. ROTK doing some really ballsy play here. This is a game, by the way, from the International, DK versus Alliance. So that's the game we're going to be looking at. So while he's scouting out with his treants, you'll want to notice what he's doing with a new set of treants here. Right at, I think it's about 28 seconds, he spawns his next set, and look at what he picks up here as well for his starting items. One Ring of Protection, a Healing Salve, a Tango, and right at 27 seconds, he's spawning the next set of treants. And this is going to allow him to potentially block the creep wave up here. You'll see here in just a moment, and look at the animation, it's just sliding. We got some ice skates up here from Admiral Bulldog. Alright, so these treants, the timing on these treants is super important if you're going to play offlane Nature's Prophet against a tri-lane. These have to be perfectly timed, or you will oftentimes not get any experience or farm. The DK do a good job of countering the Nature's Prophet, even though I think what Bulldog's doing here is he's doing the right things here. So he spawns another set of treants. So now he's got a set of 4 treants. So that way he has the biggest chance to make sure that he can get the creeps aggroed away. And so notice what he's doing here. He's sending off these treants, and he also sent this one treant to block this camp. So that way the pole camp is blocked. And this, look at this alchemist. He's very, very smartly tanks the creep wave here. This is DK burning here. Very, very good player. But what he does is he tanks the creep wave for a second there. And then, so that way the creep wave does not go underneath the tower. And that prevents the creep wave from doubling up and pushing into the tower here. So if you're playing Nature's Prophet offlane, no one is going to be... Very few players are going to be smart enough to counter Nature's Prophet in this fashion, and so that's something to keep in mind, that you'll only see this level of play at very, very high tiers. So, so that said, Nature's Prophet now he had a perfect creep pull. So what do you do now? That's kind of the question of how do you recover from when you're pulling these creep waves, and you pulled it fairly successfully, but then all of a sudden the alchemist counters it by just tanking the creep wave. So what can you do to get experience? So right here you see Admiral Bulldog getting a little bit too greedy. He's trying to spawn some treants to aggro some of those creeps away perhaps, but he does a little bit late anyway. He wouldn't have got it. But he does a good play here of running into the neutral camp and gets picked off by the neutrals rather than by the supports. So just wanted to point that out as the plan B action plan. You can run into the neutral camp and hope for the best. But so it's just an overall... he definitely made a mistake, but he made up for it by a good denial play into the neutrals. Alright guys, so right now at this point in the game, Admiral Bulldog has been zoned out very well by the enemy supports. He is unable to go up to the lane to get any experience or creeps. So at 16 seconds, he spawns treants into the large camp here, and then pulls this large camp into his creep wave. So this is going to be working at 16 seconds and at 46 seconds if you want to try to pull this this creep wave right here into your own creep wave to now he's in range to get a nice chunk of experience. Look at this massive wave of experience. It's perfect. And it would be kind of not great if he aggroed a whole bunch of these over to the side cramp. And it looks like he's gonna get off scot-free, get some good experience. Oh, they're gonna be going on Nature's Prophet here. He's hiding inside of the trees here, and look at him blocking with his own treant. That's very, very smart. I like this. This is a good play by Admiral Bulldog. You'll only see this kind of play here at the highest level. Look at him. He almost hit level 3 off this creep wave. He should hit level 3 off of this creep wave. And they know he's here now, and he's coming out. This seems a little bit risky, but I guess because the creep wave is now thinning, he knows that they can't really go on him aggressively, so he's going to come out and try to get a couple last hits here. So getting his first last hits of the game right here. Pretty big deal, actually. And wow, look at that. Man, so managed to pick up Cole's last hits. Those would be really hard last hits to actually get. But really well played there from Admiral Bulldog, hiding in the corner here to get that XP and utilizing the creep pole camp to get that huge wave to come his way. Okay, so we're just going to watch a little bit of gameplay here. Notice his positioning. It's on the far left side. This is the safest position you can have in the offlane. And he knows the supports are missing now. They're roaming, so he's going to go back to base. It's just safer because they could be wrapping around behind. But so instead, it looks like Bulldog's going to be transitioning into the forest. The next thing you'll notice is that Admiral Bulldog is constantly watching this top lane. Every, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds he's checking it. And what he's doing is he's trying to make sure that he doesn't miss any free farm and experience that he can get out up here. So notice that he's going to be teleporting in underneath tower. And this is before the creep wave is there, so it doesn't allow the alchemist to have a chance to charge up a concoction before he gets there, which could be a little bit dangerous. And so basically he's here now, and he's getting lots of experience, and he also knows what it is. He spawned those treants, and the treants are kind of scouting out ahead of him right now. You can see on the minimap. If I go to free camera, you can see them. They're up here, right here. So he's kind of fielding the lane with the treants just to see if there's supports looking to dive him. So just really safe, really a consistent play coming out of Bulldog here. Getting that farm where he can in the jungle, and then when transitioning to the lane where he can. And notice the dire ward placement here. This is going to prevent him from camping the lane in the fog back here, because they'll know that he is there for the most part, unless he managed to TP in kind of into this narrow strip of fog right here in between. But that would just be lucky. So it looks like he's going to go back into the jungle again and sending one treant up to the top once more, and sending 3 into the jungle. It's very interesting, interesting technique. And I think he's just going to try to utilize this creep. Let's go ahead and see what he does with this. I think it's going to be either to aggro the creep wave back in order to maybe stack a double creep wave. That's my guess. Or maybe just to scout for where the supports are at. I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's see what he does. Looks like he's aggroing the creep wave back. Yep. And he's just bringing the creep wave back here. And the whole time he's jungling down here, but he just aggroed it back, and now it's going to be a double wave of experience, ready for him to teleport top again here in a couple minutes, or probably more like 35-40 seconds here, and he's going to be able to get another big chunk of experience that he would be denied if he did not send this creep up here. Alright, looks like we're seeing a rotation coming out from Admiral Bulldog and Shen here. Looks like he's just going to be grabbing some creeps here. And this those old skating animation. Everyone's skating at the moment. Look at him. That's hilarious. I'm sorry. But looks like they're going to be ganking up this alchemist. Alchemist is going to be really tanky. Going to be kind of hard to take down. But you do have the mana burn coming out from Loda, as well as the centaur stomp coming out from Chen, and then the ultimate coming out from Anti-Mage, doing a lot of work. And they're picking them off. And here's Bulldog. Look at this. They're pushing this tower, and Bulldog is stacking the Ancients with one of these treants. Look at that. And he gets a successful stack off. That's crazy good. That's awesome. And I mean, it's just those little things. The little things. That's what separates Bulldog from the other Nature's Prophet players out there. Prophet uses the Midas there, and again, you'll notice that Prophet is typically using that Midas on the biggest creep possible, especially in the early game. Later game, you'll want to use it on the small creep, but in the early game here, you want to use that Midas on the biggest creep possible. That will allow you to farm faster, because you don't have that much damage in the early game. That'll allow you to clear the creep wave, that camp faster, for example, or the creep wave faster. And then it'll give you that experience boost, because basically the Hand of Midas gives you a 2.5 experience level on whatever creep you use it on. So if the creep's a large one, it'll give you more bonus experience than if it's a small one. So that's something to keep in mind is if you want to go for experience, which you always want to do in the early game, go for the large creep. Late game, when you want gold for your items, you already have level 16. Then I would say to go for the small creeps because that'll give you more overall gold from a camp. Alright, so we're about to see a smoke gank coming out from DK. They're rotating up and in here, and they do see that these Chen creeps are revealed. So they know someone is here. Bulldog's kind of already going to be sending in this treant to kind of scout this out. And he does back up, you'll notice. The Shadow Demon, thinking about right-clicking that. But they do see this Ancient X, so they're going to try to take it. And it looks like Alliance is coming in to converge. S4 blinks in on Burning here. And Nature's Prophet tries to TP in here, but you'll notice how they all converge to try to help Burning. And Nature's Prophet is just completely caught out, so fragile at this point. Hand of God's not going to keep him alive for just a second. Great power shot coming through. Burning, staying alive through all of this. That Alchemist, so tanky with the HP bonus and regen. But still manages to get picked up by Loda. And, I mean, as far as Nature's Prophet commentary goes, you know, he TP'd in behind. He didn't think that the entire enemy team would be able to get there so fast, but Weaver is incredibly quick. There was Jakiro that was smoked up, and then the Darkseer coming in with Surge, just all able to respond so quickly to the lasso, and then, you know, kind of pick off Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet's so fragile at this point in the game, you know. So if you commit to a fight, you're fully committed. You can't. There's no escape mechanism for Nature's Prophet at this point. No Shadow Blade done, you know, anything like that. He does have the amulet, but he does not have the Shadow Blade yet. So okay, so now we see a Shadow Blade finally picked up from Admiral Bulldog here, and he is going to be pushing lanes now. I think this is the time to start split pushing. He's trying to keep an eye on when enemies are going to be rotating around, trying to pick him off. But right now, he's just going to be split pushing all of the lanes where he can. And look, he's always looking to TP in, trying to help his teammates, keeping an eye on the fights, and always ready to TP in to try to pick people off. So pushes the lane. And then quickly transitions into jungle here. You'll notice at this point, when you're standing at the river area, this is the point of no return oftentimes. When there's people missing, you can't go up here because if there's an Alchemist, or, you know, Shadow Demon, Disruption, plus Alchemist stun, you're dead. You're just guaranteed dead. So playing really carefully, using that Midas in the jungle on those larger creeps. And it looks like there's going to be a fight up top here, and I wonder if is Bulldog looking to come in here. He uses his ultimate, you know, hits the entire other team basically, and looks like he's just going to keep pushing. They knew they lost the Batrider, and so there's no point to fighting when you're down a man, when you're running, when they have 5 man ready to go with their wombo combo. It's better just to retreat, lose 1 man, than to potentially get a team wipe and overcommit. So it looks like he's going to be going Orchid next to this game. Orchid, a very good pickup, particularly on against a Weaver. A Weaver, a Darkseer, Shadow Demon, Jakiro, and Alchemist all rely on their abilities in a team fight to survive. And the Orchid really amplifying the damage coming out from the Nature's Prophet as well. Looks like ROTK thinking about going aggressive here, and the Anti-Mage is here, so they could go on him here. Nice, good trees, can't do anything, and the great, great follow-up there. Shadow Demon disrupting the Anti-Mage, and of course the Anti-Mage has to run away from his own illusions. Illusions do the mana burn, as well as that causes a little bit of bonus damage. The illusions really hurt for an Anti-Mage when he goes up against them. So keep that in mind. Looks like Bulldog TPing in here. And let's see if he goes out of his way to use that Midas on a big creep. No, he does not. He goes ahead and says, hey, if I'm going to be, if it's going to be off cooldown, let me go ahead and just use it here and stay in lane, getting as much farm and experience as I can, rather than transitioning to a jungle camp to use it a little bit later. So that's kind of a little pointer that I think a lot of people would wait to transition to use it on, wait to transition into the jungle to use it on a big creep. Well, Admiral Bulldog says, heck no, I'm just going to be most efficient as possible and constantly be using it as often as possible. So pretty smart play coming up from him, I think. Alright, so you can see that here you go, Admiral Bulldog sending more treants into the Roshan pit to scout out what's happening in there. And the Anti-Mage is out of position, so they're saying, screw it, we're just going to take a tower for Roshan. Our best trade that we can do right now. Plus, you know, we just got to give this Anti-Mage time to come online at this point. Their Alchemist already has more farm, but if you give Anti-Mage the time, he will oftentimes come up. And look at this Anti-Mage skating around. Okay, so they're going to be TPing out. Not worth the risk sticking around. And yeah, so Where does he go? He goes straight back to farming in the jungle and just continuing to build up that farm. And it looks like he's probably going to try to get this orchid here really soon. He's almost got it. Oh, he might get picked off here. We've got Super with the ion shell. The pullback, and I don't see him getting away from here. Nope, he is gone. And his Shadow Blade was on cooldown, I believe, there. Alright, so we got the beginnings of a fight brewing here on bottom lane. Look at the S4 blinking in, force-staffing the Weaver to pop the Lincolns, and then lassoing him, followed up with a Shackle from the Windrunner EGM. Alchemist doing the blink-in stun, and the Anti-Mage Manta illusions completely draining the burning from all of his mana. And Loda just dropping that ultimate and popping the Aegis. Admiral Bulldog TPing in, and he does have Purge on him, and they do have Vision from ROTK, so Bulldog's going to be going down here. So again, you just got to be really careful with that Nature's Prophet positioning. Loda getting frozen up by the Ice Path, and MMY really, really low, and Loda knowing that, blinking, taking advantage of that, burning, extremely tanky now that he has an AC. Manta being popped, and instantly picking off the Shadow Demon. So a 3-for-1 trade overall. I do think that Bulldog should have TP'd in on this side rather than over here. This really separated him from the team, and he was able to be isolated. Keep in mind, he did kind of hashtag space create because everyone focused him, and that allowed Loda, S4, Ake, EGM to just clean up coming through the back section here, kind of flank them as they all focused Admiral Bulldog down here. So overall, really great fight from Reliance, and just really good positioning and synergy coming out. Looks like they're going to try to retaliate. DK burning, wow, 3 or 4 hits there, picking up the Windrunner. Very, just melting to the AC, basically. All that minus armor is just brutal on a Windrunner that has a base armor of 3. There's not much, yeah, you just die so fast. Just seeing if the Ake can make it out here alive. Looks like, yes, he will. Loda coming in and saving the day. So let's just take a look at what Admiral Bulldog's got now. He almost has his Orchid done. If he hadn't died there, I think he would have it done right now. But unfortunately, he does not. Or he does, maybe. It's on the Courier? It is on the Courier. So he's got his Orchid now. So 26 minutes in, he has a Shadow Blade Orchid, Phase Boots, and then Hand of Midas. So this is kind of the Glass Cannon-esque Nature's Prophet. He doesn't have any HP items, like not even treads or anything, but he will be doing lots of damage, and he can potentially pop the Lincolns on Weaver using that Orchid, and if the Lincolns is already popped, for example with his ultimate, he'll be able to potentially solo kill that Weaver as he gets a little more farm, maybe a Deso or a crit, for example. And interesting enough, he's not putting these Treants down here. Maybe he's anticipating that burning would be rotating, because if he had put the Treants down here, they probably would have just been free food for burning, which is never good for an Alchemist, because the Alchemist gets the Grievel's Gree, which is a bonus 30 gold on top of that 12 gold Treant. That's 30 extra gold for burning, and that's just insane. So so burning, getting some really good attack speed going, and you know, he only hits for 190 at this point, but he has so much minus armor coming up from the Assault Cuirass -5, and then -6 from Acid Spray. So like right now Admiral Bulldog has 8, so Admiral Bulldog's going to have -3, and then Chen has a mech, so he's going to have all that bonus armor from there, but EGM's just going to melt to all of this minus armor. He's going to have -8 at this point. That's ugly. That's really, really ugly. And of course the Anti-Mage should have okay-ish armor, simply because he has, you know, so much agility, so he's getting 13 armor, so he's not going to be in the negative, but he is going to have pretty low armor with all of the negative armor coming up from Dire. So so you can see Admiral Bulldog now going for a sheep stick, I believe, and he's right now, he could be pushing some of these lanes out, but he's not. He's actually playing extremely careful, very safe, jungling basically the whole time here. And you'll see him transition to Ancients as well. And I think it's very interesting to see that he's not pushing lanes. Like right now he could be pushing that top lane in, but he knows that there could be like a gank, right? Like Alchemist, you know, Shadow Demon, Disruption, Jakiro. He would just instantly die to that. So rather than potentially dying, he's going to be going and just continuing to farm where he can, as he can, you know, in a completely safe area, or mostly safe area, unless the only way he could really die here is if they had a smoke gank rotation, you know, something like that. So I think it's just a very smart play coming out from Bulldog. I see a lot of Nature's Prophets constantly dying basically in pubs. They think they always have to be pushing lanes nonstop constantly, and that's just not true. As you can see here, he's maximizing the farm by stacking these ancients right here. Okay, so now we can see that Nature's Prophet has managed to pick up a sixth item, which is a BKB. He's got Phase Boots, Shadow Blade, Hand of Midas, Black King Bar, Scythe of Ice, and Orc of Malevolence. Now, of course, he could always sell his Hand of Midas and pick up something like a Desolator. I think that'd probably be a great choice. And then super late game, maybe sell his Phase Boots and pick up like a Daedalus. I think that would probably be like, if you're going to go for pure DPS right clicks, it's probably the best Desolator and Daedalus coming out. I would not be surprised if he does that. But basically, at 39 minutes, he's managed to pick up 6 slots worth of items. And this is more like 5.5 slots. This is not really 6 slotted, I would say. But it's really close. And he'll probably keep that Hand of Midas until he has a nice bank roll in his account, you know. Here he is pushing the lanes. Like, he knows that these guys are pushing down here, so it's safe to engage pushing this mid tower. And I think he's going to commit to this. He doesn't want them to get the deny off. And gets the kill, and Shadow Blade's away. And it's probably going to just TP out here in just a second. There it goes. And keep in mind, Shadow Blade does not deactivate your teleportation. So our teleportation does not deactivate your Shadow Blade invisibility. You'll see right there, as he was TPing away, the Shadow Blade the invisibility did not wear off until the moment that he actually teleports. There's like a split second where you become visible. So enemies will know that you TP'd out, but they're not going to be able to stop you unless they have detection. So that's something to keep in mind with the Nature's Prophet and split pushing. Now, obviously, this is really high tier play, right? Pro level game. So they're going to have detection pretty much every time. But in pubs, oftentimes they won't have detection. So something to keep in mind. We're going to get to see Admiral Bulldog split pushing here. And notice what he does. He comes out, uses his Midas, gets a couple last hits. And then he goes back into the trees, trying to stay hidden basically 100% of the time. Uses those treants to push the wave. And then he waits to see if anyone's there to gank him. He's kind of scouting out, using his trees to go into the jungle here, looking for any potential rotations from the enemy team. And he's just constantly pushing, being extremely, extremely safe. Probably more safe than he ultimately needs to be. But yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at what items are up on the different carries and such. And so Bat Rider, Blink, looks like Boot to Travel, BKB Force Staff. Chen just got that Ghost Scepter Mech. Anti-Mage just got the Butterfly now, the Butterfly Basher. And I'm surprised he didn't go for Heart, but I suppose the Basher and tries to give him some HP. S4 over-committing there for sure. And looks like they are going to get stomped up by the Centaur, and that's going to be it, I think. EGM, no, EGM's fine. Okay, and then so switch me over to the Windrunner. Just got a Force Staff, and it looks like a first part of a Sheep Stick. And then, of course, Bulldog is max slotted. And the Alchemist does have that MKB, so lots of damage now coming up from the Alchemist. That's over, and he's got a Abyssal Blade too, so just some really insane damage coming out. And look at this, Loda going aggressive, using that Basher, and picks off, wow. Manages to pick off the Darkseer and get away for free. Knowing, just really smart play coming out from him, knowing that he can get away there and still pick off that Darkseer just in that split second. Looks like Super going to be start wailing away on this Roche. And I don't know, maybe they know that since Loda was just heavily damaged, he has to go back to base, and that's why they're trying to be aggressive here and go for Roche. That very well may be the case. Bat Rider blinking in. The Roshan finishes off. There was cheese. There still is cheese inside. Admiral Bulldog TPing into the middle of them to silence up the Jakiro. And Jakiro dying before he can do anything. Bulldog, though, getting stunned up for a long period of time. Burning, getting picked off by the Bat Rider. But the Anti-Mage really is the one who did most of the work there. And Alchemist bought back. The Weaver does die with the Aegis, and so he'll be coming back in just a moment. Loda getting locked up, and Super getting the lasso, or the shackle shot off of the Bulldog's trees. Great combo there coming out from EGM and Bulldog. And Windrunner and Nature's Prophet have some great synergy in that respect. Loda is going to die here with the vacuum wall into Ice Path, and of course burning, whacking him twice. It's just incredible amounts of damage. And yeah, so the only thing I can really see coming out on this Alchemist is maybe refreshing the BKB here soon down to a 5-second charge. Maybe swapping out the Battle Fury. Let's go and take a look at the Anti-Mage's Battle Fury, or Black King Bar. Black King Bar is at 6 seconds for the Anti-Mage. He'll probably swap it out if this game goes much further. And he'll obviously finish up the Abyssal first. Admiral Bulldog scything up the... Looks like that was the Darkseer. And then Windrunner scything up Burning. Burning just taking so much damage, and QQQ using the cheese to get his HP up. And QQ is so low overall on HP that the cheese only heals for like 700 instead of the massive potential it could have healed for. I think it's like 2,000 and 1,000. 2,000 HP. And look at this. Now they've got this huge advantage. And I think this came down to hero positioning. Admiral Bulldog did die there, but he managed to get the Scythe of Ice off on either the Alchemist and the Darkseer, and picking off the Darkseer like they did was crucial for the team fight. And look at this, they're just pushing through these racks so fast. Loda knowing that he can just constantly blink away and be okay. And I just rhymed without even trying. But so they managed to pick off 2 racks there so quickly. They just have so much damage coming out from that Anti-Mage. And of course the Windrunner does do quite a bit of damage as well. Chen sending the Anti-Mage back. Of course this is going to enable him to get his HP up very, very quickly. And now he's got Boots of Travel done on the Anti-Mage. So he's instantly coming back to lane to continue the push. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and straight commentate the rest of this game out. Because it's nearing the end, and we'll just go ahead and see how it goes. Well, I'll try to focus on Admiral Bulldog's positioning, and looks like the Anti-Mage is trying to do a little damage here. S4 jumping in and lassoing MMY. MMY definitely overcommitting here, but he does have the Ghost Scepter. But that Ghost Scepter, of course, making that power shot do a ton of damage. And I think it was between the Chen and the Windrunner and the Batrider that Chikiro just melted with that Ghost Scepter. Though it did keep him alive for a little bit longer than he would have. Bulldog, I'm surprised he's not pushing this. I feel like he needs to be pushing this lane right now. I feel like he could be. Now, naturally, this lane is going to automatically push because they do have large creeps over here, but it's a little bit of gold and experience, and it would push faster if he was here. Now, admittedly, it would be a little bit dangerous because they're not split pushing over here anymore, but to me, it's been really interesting watching Admiral Bulldog this game because he spent probably 85% of his time farming his jungle, his ancients, and the enemy jungle, primarily this camp and this camp, just rotating between all these different camps. And oftentimes you'll see him, so usually he'll rotate top, push this lane, right, and then he'll go into this large camp, small camp, or this is now the small camp. It's a medium camp back then. And then from there he'll go into usually ancients, kill or stack the ancients, and then he'll rotate bottom lane, push this lane out, rotate into this camp, this camp, this camp, back to ancients again, and then pushing lanes. Or now there he goes, pushes this with his ultimate, and he farms this camp right here, going back to farming this camp. Of course, the Anti-Mage is going to come in and clean up Loda, the greedy carry, of course, and it's just natural that he should be doing this. I'm just giving him a hard time. I think they're going to be waiting for buyback. Anti-Mage does not have buyback for 2 minutes, so he needs to be really careful right now. If he dies, it's not GG, but it's probably Rax, because the respawn time on Lodo, it's going to be 100 seconds or so. So gotta be super, super careful. Let's see what Loda picks up here. Is he going to go straight for the Abyssal? At this point, he needs to make sure he has buyback. No matter what, he can't skip buyback at this point, and buyback for him is going to be 1,800, and he doesn't even have 1,800 reliable gold, so he needs to be really careful. You can see the reliable gold is what you don't lose when you die, and I mean he would obviously have buyback right now, but if you were to die right now, he would have buyback, except that the buyback timer is still has a minute and 20 seconds left. But what I'm trying to say is that basically he wants ideally to be able to have enough reliable gold to be able to buy back. So that way when he buys the Abyssal, he doesn't have to worry about not having buyback potentially. And so the only way to get reliable gold is through tower building kills, like tower kills, Hand of Midas, and then hero kills. So it's just something to keep in mind. I don't think, does Roshan give you reliable gold? I'm not sure if Roshan gives you reliable gold or not. I think it's only towers, hero kills, and I think maybe Roshan and Midas. Alright, so Nature's Prophet playing really safe again. And where did he go? He went top lane. Looks like he's going to just, he TP'd in and then he shadow bladed up and backed up. Maybe he's just looking to see if any of Dire are going to be rotating over, and now he sees that all of Dire team is down here, so he says, hey, it's safe to farm this. Let me go ahead and pop out and get some last hits. And he misses a couple last hits there, but you can see this is a offlane Nature's Prophet that was, like, I would say not behind necessarily. He was fairly behind in levels 1 through 4, just because the alchemy, Burning did such a good job of preventing the creep waves from pushing. Wow, the Burning cleaving through those trees just picked up like 500 gold when he normally probably would have only picked up 300. Just all of these bonus, all of that bonus gold coming out from the Alchemist Grievel's Greed. It's insane how much for him. He's got 6,000 in the bank. I'd say it's definitely time to sell that Battle Fury, pick up something else, another tier 4 item, maybe a what would be good? I feel like a Deso, maybe I don't want to say Satanic, maybe a Heart maybe. I don't know, something to give him either survivability or damage, and Heart and Satanic would both do that. He obviously has a lot of HP. This is still in the Alchemist pre-patch where he has tons of HP that he gets from Chemical Rage, but anyway, we'll see what he does. I'm sure he'll be upgrading that Battle Fury at some point. I feel like he needs to do it already though, because like he would still have buyback even if he were to die, and he has plenty of gold to pick up some other big item. He could sell it, go for a Divine even. I don't know. Like this is make or break time. If he dies and loses, if they lose a team fight right here, it's GG. So I feel like he should have already swapped this out. And looks like they're just going to try to push this back. Nature's Prophet dropping in the ultimate, and we're going to try to be watching, keeping an eye on this Nature's Prophet, see how his positioning in this fight. That's the focus of this. S4 initiating on Burning, and oh, this I think is a big misplay. Great pickoff from S4. Loda jumping in on ROTK and getting the purge from Shadow Demon, but looks like he's going to be fine. Admiral Bulldog going to be BKBing through the Alchemist stun, and the Alchemist stun still does the damage, but it doesn't do. It doesn't go through. The stun does not go through BKB. Where did he go? So Nature's Prophet actually just TP'd forward. Interesting. And I think the idea there was to potentially Sheepstick. Great Ice Path, or great pull in through the wall. But I think the wall was a little bit late. I think only some people got affected by it. Sheepstick coming out from EGM on Burning, and I think that's GG. It is GG. So yeah, I feel like he's like this is a pretty big mistake, I think, from Burning to not sell this Battle Fury to get another tier 4 item, like such as like if he had a Heart or a Satanic or refreshed his BKB, maybe anything could have potentially helped him survive those fights. A new BKB would have given him a whole bunch of additional time. He was down to he did get a new BKB, but he didn't get to use it. Interesting. That he has a 10-second charge on his BKB, but he did not get to use it. So he did spend his gold, and look at that, 856 gold per minute, but his team still lost. And Loda 712. If you're interested in an anti-mage game, I do have a DK Burning anti-mage commentary up. But so that's the game. You didn't see much Rat Dota, honestly, this game. Admiral Bulldog playing extremely safe, knowing that he didn't want to die, he didn't want to feed. And I think that's a really, really important thing to note for Nature's Prophet players out there, that to play safe is better than to play too aggressive on the split push and die over and over again. It's better to play safe, get that farm, get the Sheepstick, the Scythe of Vice, the BKB, and then then you can push in. And if you did notice, it looks like he did pick up a Manta style instead of a Desolator. He picked up the Manta style, so that's pretty interesting. But anyway, guys, that's it for the Admiral Bulldog in-depth analysis. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me feedback down below. I tried to do this with a little different style with kind of short snippets and observations in between. And I'm going to be editing this together and throwing it together and all that stuff. So if you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, like me on Facebook, all that good stuff. I have links in the description below. Anyway, guys, peace out. Quadron. See you later.